OMG. Yeah.
What's up, guys? Happy Saturday. Chuck Silver and Jayhawk here with Occupy Fantasy to bring you the strategy for DraftKings and FanDuel. What happened yesterday? Sar Thompson and Tobias Harris. That was a whole slate right there if you missed that first game. So we get Wemby and Jokic showing down again tonight. That's pretty cool. And Buddy Hield, yeah, we see the OMG father going off in the chat about it. Top of value. But Jayhawk, how we doing? We looking forward to today's slate or what?
Yeah, man, it's been a couple rough slates recently in the NBA DFS streets, but tonight we get to battle Steve Kerr and his rotation. So looking forward to breaking down Steve Kerr and this slate overall.
Yeah, I mean, that game is going to be pretty fun. If you're playing over on DraftKings, I actually kind of like that they cut off the Atlanta Clippers game tonight. It's over on FanDuel. Kawhi Leonard is expected to make his season debut, so actually probably not a bad game to have on the slate since all the Clippers are probably not good plays. Atlanta, maybe someone's out. But we'll get into that last game for you FanDuelers out there. DraftKings, we have a nice little 7-gamer. And yeah, those Warriors play Memphis last game of the night. It's going to be a pretty big spot. So we'll get there. Should we just start with that game since it's probably the most important?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So Golden State. Saw questions about Buddy Hield, man. Yeah, tell me about Buddy Hield.
Yeah, man. So on paper here, I do like Buddy Hield a lot here at his price 3,400, 4,100 on FanDuel. We were just kind of talking pre-stream. He's been shooting pretty bad, but we kind of have to overlook that here. He's in a good spot, too cheap. So I really like Buddy Hield.
Yeah, I mean, we got to play him. And this is kind of like we're talking about a lot of these guys. We're going to assume that they're starting. We only have them projected for 24 and a half minutes. I mean, just going by the model, I guess, kind of thinks Dennis Schroeder, Wiggins, Kuminga, Draymond, and TJD could be the starters. But I mean, maybe Buddy Hield starts and Kuminga still plays more minutes anyway. We'll have to see what happens there. What's your interest in Buddy if he ends up coming off the bench?
So I still think he's solid here especially on DraftKings at his price. I would say he's probably slightly overowned if he doesn't start, but I think he's still cheap enough where he could still get there off the bench. So
The thing is, he's still a good play off the bench, like you said. It's just if the whole field is assuming, and I don't know if the whole field's assuming he's starting. It just seems like that's a thing. If the field assumes he's starting, he ends up not starting. He's probably going to come in slightly overowned, but I mean, he's still cheap enough. He's a good play, so it's just kind of balancing that. With it's a small sample with Pajemski off the court too. So it's kind of hard to read the situation, but with Steph Curry, DeAnthony Melton, Pajemski off the court for the Warriors this season, Buddy Hield has a 20% usage rate. Jonathan Kuminga, 28% usage rate, which is borderline elite. Andrew Wiggins, 24% usage rate. Dennis Schroeder, it's not that many minutes, but also a 24% usage rate. And Moses Moody, 23% usage rate. So all of those are above league average. I think these are guys we can all get to. It's just whoever starts is going to be the priority. And then we can look at the bench players as kind of pivots. And I imagine we're going to have a lot of roster spots in this last game because I'm pretty sure we're going to get heavy exposure to Memphis as well.
Yep, agreed. We have a ton of spots to get to in this game.
Yeah, so I think we know that we're interested in Buddy Hield and Draymond, just the models giving us that. Moses Moody, projected for much lower ownership at 3,100. This is definitely one of the tournament spots that we want to look closely at today. 15.5 DK value, I mean, just overall on the slate. It's pretty close to the top, only pulling 10% ownership. There's a couple other low-owned plays, but Moses Moody, just 3,100, and it's very clear how his role could grow tonight.
Yep, love that call, especially if he comes in under-owned like he currently is here.
And I'll mention Lindy Waters. He's probably just a play on maybe like the night slate, but if you mix him in a couple, if you're making 150 on the main slate, that's probably okay. And then Kuminga and Wiggins, are you getting to both of these guys?
Yeah, so you mentioned that I love Kuminga here. He's just looked incredible for the Warriors, high usage rate, just great player overall. So love Kuminga. And then Wiggins, I don't have like a huge take on him. I do kind of like Draymond around his price point, so I'm kind of just neutral here with Wiggins.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel right now. More Kuminga than Wiggins. There is a price difference. Let's say Kuminga doesn't end up starting, Wiggins does. Wiggins is going to look great at 5,600, and like I said, people are going to have roster spots open, but I'm not sure how many people are going to want to swap to Wiggins, especially the NFL game starts at the same time as this game starts.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you mentioned TJD. He's pulling pretty heavy ownership at 5K and 5,800. He was kind of disappointing last time, but you have no problem going back.
Yeah, I think he's fine. I just want to mention here he had a really stiff matchup against Joel Embiid, so I think he probably bounces back here. Sabonis just nuked Memphis last night. I think TJD can bounce back.
We haven't projected for 26 minutes. He played 21 in that tough match against Philadelphia. It was a blowout, so probably lost that last rotation, but he's been playing 29, 23, 31, 26. So the 26 is probably a fair minutes projection. And with that minutes projection, I get a decent amount. Not like a super jam today though. Is
Yeah,
there any
agreed.
is there anything else on this team? Like, did I mention yeah, is there anything else here?
Yeah, I'm not getting any Kevon Looney, so I think we nailed it here.
Yeah, I hate to just not mention a guy. We haven't projected for 11 minutes. This is the type of play. If you play him, you're projecting him for, I don't know, 18 to 20, and you're probably taking away minutes from TJD too. I mean, it's a possibility he gets in. I don't know if he's necessary to take those shots on today. I'd rather just take the shots on Moses Moody if I want to go super cheap from this game. And then, I mean, we didn't say much about Dennis Schroeder, but he's 5,200 on DraftKings. He's one of my highest exposed plays. He's one of the highest owned players on the whole slate. There's no Steph. He's been really bad in Golden State, but he's still better than 5,200.
Yeah, it was weird. The game he went off was the game with Curry back. So I just think he looks great at his price here. So agreed there.
Let's see. What's up, Heath? Good to see you, man. OMG father, yeah, we're chilling. Buddy, scared. Yep, should be. Draymond hates him. That might be true. Douche, good to see you. Yeah, we just went through Golden State. Jose, second place in the dollar into 600. Dude, congratulations. Good stuff, man. Love to hear that. Know you're in here every day grinding, so good to see it pay off. Yep, Nick. Priority plays Schroeder, Kaminga, Green. Sounds about right. Yeah, Buddy Hield's got to be up there. I mean, he's super owned, so if you want to pivot, I completely understand, but the price is just, it's a little bit too low for the minutes we have projected. But he's too scoring dependent. The thing is, yeah, he's scoring dependent, but he's also much cheaper than he usually is. So the thing is, we shouldn't look at how he scores his fantasy points. It's just this is the average rate of production. And for the rate of production we expect from him tonight, this price is too cheap. Plus, he has the ability to put up like a, I don't want to say ceiling game, but he has the ability to put up a strong game with just a couple threes. Just think about it. On DraftKings, every three he hits is already 1x value. If he hits a couple threes, I mean, it's really easy for him to get there. Buddy Hield or your boy Christian Brown, Jayhawk?
I'm gonna have to say Buddy Hield here by a pretty big margin.
Yeah, it's I will say Buddy Hield, it's a different price point, so it's not really comparable. But Christian Brown also one of the strongest values on the model, projected for sub 10% ownership. So this is like kind of extreme pivot, I think. But if you want to play them in the same lineup, that seems great. Or if you just, have the extra 1,500 and you want to pivot to Brown off of Buddy Hield, that's fine. Brown starts. Yeah, all those late Memphis downgrades suck. It makes this slate a little bit more difficult, but let's take a look at Memphis right now. Jalen Wells finally had a good game, man. Model's been telling us to play him every day. We did every day until yesterday. But played big minutes, projected for 33, third most on the team after Bane and Jaren Jackson. So what are we doing as the run back to all that Golden State value we're getting?
Yeah, so I think Memphis probably starts here with Brandon Clark, in my opinion. 3,400. He did pick up the start last night for Memphis. I do come to expect the same here. So I think he's one of the top values of the slate. And then you mentioned it, Jalen Wells. I think he already looks good. Could potentially even look better here if Desmond Bain sits tonight. So I think Wells is a really solid play as well.
Yeah, I believe Conchar was Q tag too. So who's new out? Jaw's been out. Santi Aldama's been out. New on the injury report, Luke Kennard is doubtful. So I've been telling us to play Scottie Pippen Jr. every single day that Jaw's been out, and it has not even come close to working out once. Last night I thought it was finally going to, and then no, Luke Kennard came in and played much better than him. But there's no Luke Kennard to take the minutes from Scottie Pippen. So Cam Spencer showing up here at the bottom of the model, one of the worst scores I've ever seen. But we only have him projected for 13 minutes. You can look at this. Let's say you want to give him 26 minutes, just double the DK value. All of a sudden, he has 11, OF index 3.4. Still not very good, but what do you think about that point guard situation that I just laid out with Scottie Pippen? We only have him projected for 27.6 minutes. I really think he could play a few more than that.
Yeah, I think he definitely can play more, and he's a guy that can definitely benefit here with no Kennard. So I like him, especially guards like not necessarily great tonight. So I definitely think he's in play in tournaments. So I like that call.
Even more so if Desmond Bane's out, because Desmond Bane can help handle the ball. So if they wanted to kind of not give Scottie Pippen full run if he's not playing well, then they could do that and just let Desmond Bane bring the ball up. If Desmond Bane's out, I really don't see where else they can go to get ball handling. Like if John Contrar's in, maybe he helps bring the ball up. I don't see Jalen Wells as much of a ball handler slash guy running the offense. So we could have Scottie Pippen's minutes under projected pretty hard. It's a close spread. I just think these ownerships are probably under projected across the board. They should all come in higher, but they're still going to be under owned considering how much we're getting to Golden State. We don't need all the value. We still have to find studs earlier in the slate, but I just think there's a lot to like here, even at the top end. Jaren Jackson, no matter what, if Bane's in or out, I'm going to like him a lot, even at this new price tag.
Yeah, man, it's just a great game overall here, and even better, one of these guys sits here. So just a great game here.
We saw Brandon Clark start last night. Zach Edey came off the bench. I thought Zach Edey was one of the top plays on the slate yesterday until that happened. Ended up having to swap all of it. He didn't get there. We have him projected for 24 minutes. I don't think Brandon Clark really. What were his minutes like? Because he is projected for 21, and he's actually showing up as the second top value on this team after Jalen Wells. Were you looking at Brandon Clark or Zach Edey at all?
Yeah, so I definitely prefer Clark if he starts. If for some reason Edie starts here, I would much prefer him. I think so. It kind of just depends on whoever pulls the starting odd there. But yeah, I think Clark's a great play at his price. He is a pretty good producer, so definitely like him if he starts here.
Yeah, and he definitely underperformed last night. 35 minutes. He only put up 22 and a half, and that's not really failing at 3,400 on the night slate. I don't know if he ended up being in the winning lineup or not. Trey Lyles had a really good game, but 35 minutes for Brandon Clark. If he starts again tonight, they're super short-handed. They kind of have to run him. So Brandon Clark projected for 23%, which is honestly probably still a little bit low on DraftKings, and then 7% on FanDuel. I think we can still take GPP shots.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
It's just we could have him under projected by 10 plus minutes. It's kind of a lot. And then Jalen Wells, are you just playing a lot of Jalen Wells today?
I think so, man. That ownership disparity on DraftKings, the FanDuel is way too different to me.
Yeah, I'm still comfortable getting over that 8% over on DraftKings. And yeah, he shot incredible last night, had an awesome game. And I mean, kind of similar to Buddy Hield. Yeah, he's kind of scoring dependent too. But like I said, like I don't really care how they get their points.
Who's going to score for them if Desmond Bain sits, right?
Yeah, and it's like this is actually probably a pretty fair matchup with the injuries that both of these teams have.
Yeah.
Someone on Atlanta has to sit. Yeah, we'll take a look at that injury report real quick at the end. So Buddy Hield not starting but getting starter minutes. No, we only have him projected for 24. So if he's not starting, like the 24, it might even be kind of an aggressive projection.
Yeah, I feel like I just want to play him if he starts. I'd probably want to be, like you mentioned, underweight if he doesn't start.
I'm still playing a bunch of him if he does not start, but I'd like to see what the projected ownership looks like, and I guess just the ownership of the guys that already went, so we can kind of maybe try and guess. Let's see. They like Buddy running the point on the second team. Yeah, it's like I'd be kind of surprised if Buddy starts. So that could be a spot to just play a little bit less in the field, play more of the pivots. Jayhawk, how many Warriors in a lineup?
This is a good question. Shout out Smitty, by the way. But
Yeah,
for me, I think I'm probably good with 3 or 4. Probably 4 tops for me, just because we have a bunch of Memphis guys as well.
still have to make some adjustments, but right now my top lineup is 4 Warriors. My second top lineup is 5 on DraftKings. 4 Warriors, 4 Warriors, 4 Warriors, 3 Warriors, 5 Warriors. So lots of Warriors. Like I said, I'm going to make adjustments. I don't think we want to play 5 Warriors in a lineup. Even 4, honestly, sounds like a lot. Because, I mean, the 4 in my top lineup right now is Schroeder, Buddy Hield, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green. That seems fine, right? They're all cheap. No one here is expensive. And so that might not be too bad because I do have Jokic in there too.
Mm-hmm. They're all cheap enough where I think they can all get there with 4.
Yeah, I'm not going to set any rules. I'm going to pay attention though. If I'm getting too many with 5, I might set a rule to max 4. But I always say it, if your optimizer or lineup builder is giving you those lineups, then they're probably good. Better in small field though. Like in larger field, I get kind of wanting to play less because we really just need those ceilings from whoever we do play from the team. Baltimore, I don't want to talk about Baltimore, man. I have my hat on, and Zay Flowers ruined my entire day already. It's just so painful, dude. Jordan Akins is going off, and it doesn't even matter. Tyus Jones sits for Phoenix, who benefits. Was Bradley Beal still questionable? Was he ruled out?
So he went through shoot around this morning, but he's still questionable.
All right, let's jump to this first game on the slate, Phoenix, Indiana. Phoenix, Indiana. I can pull up the thing here, but I imagine Monty Morris would get a few more minutes. I don't think he would take over the point guard duties completely, though. They'll probably just have Booker and Bradley Beal handle the point more, no?
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think Monte probably benefits the most, but I still don't think he would be like a core player or anything just because you mentioned it he probably hasn't given the ball a ton still.
Has Tyus Jones? I don't think Tyus Jones has missed a game yet this year. Or maybe he's missed one. Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to know what to do here, but let's talk about this team as if Tyus Jones is playing. No one's really pulling ownership except Kevin Durant on FanDuel. He's pulling 8% on DraftKings. Mason Plumlee's pulling a little bit of ownership, projected for 25 minutes. Are you interested in anyone here?
Yeah, I think Katie's fine. I do obviously prefer Katie and Booker Beal sits here, but they're still in a great spot. I feel like Katie and Booker here, so I'm definitely fine taking stabs at either one.
And the douche is our resident Suns fan, giving us the inside info. Booker and KD benefit if Beal's out, and then Grayson and Morris benefit if Tyus is out. Yeah, that makes sense. Like with Monte Morris, it's just a matter of minutes. We have a lot of really cheap value. This would be a pretty sick person to get to from the first game. It locks up a roster spot. It's going to work out some percentage of the time, but I'm not sure how worth taking that risk really is today.
Yeah, just kind of news dependent there.
Power, appreciate you giving us the news, man. John Collins is in. And if Oso ends up sitting, then Okogie and Bull could play. Yeah, I've seen Okogie on the court. I'd be a little bit more comfortable getting to him. We already have him projected for 11 minutes. Maybe he gets closer to 20. But again, there's just so much good value. I really don't think we have to take these long shots from the first game.
Yep, couldn't have put him any better there.
Other side of this game, Halliburton, man. He's at home, just had a monster game against like the last team that we want to target him against in Boston. Price on DraftKings, 8,300 is pretty good, projected for under 10% ownership. Again, it's tough because we have a lot of good value at the position, but I like Tyrese as a GPP play today. And what else do you like from Indiana?
Yeah, so don't hate the shot there with Hallie. He's kind of went off when no one expected it. So I think he's fine here. 8,300, 8,900. Don't hate it. And then for the rest of Indiana here, nothing sticks out to me too much. I think you could maybe take a stab at Miles Turner as like a super low on center play. No Nurkic for them, so he could definitely find his way to the optimal in a good game.
I am getting a few percent of Miles Turner on DraftKings. 2 lineups with Benedict Mathurin, and then I think I'm going to force in some Pascal Siakam as kind of a GPP play. 7,200 with a 9.5 OF index. It's not outstanding, but I think it's still fine at 7 and 3% ownership. And then Miles Turner, 9.8 OF index, going overlooked at center. I've talked about how I don't think the ceiling that we hope for Miles Turner is there like it used to be, but it's still a fine play at the price.
I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about this Andrew Nembhard ownership here, 11, 13?
I actually am surprised that I didn't get that much. I thought I was going to get him in my exposures, but his median projection is not that great compared to I guess some of the cheaper guys we have on the slate.
Yeah, I like the cheaper guys too.
So it's just tough. It's because I mean, at point guard, am I even in the mid range? I feel like we're just paying up or paying down. Like Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, Dennis Schroeder, Terry Rozier. These guys are all 5 to 6K. Yeah, I'm not even really paying up at a point guard that much. I'm actually a lot of value. Yeah, except for Halliburton, Bain, and Brunson. I'm not paying up for anyone. Cade Cunningham. Yeah, everyone else is a value point guard. So that could be something maybe the field is constructing today. If you want to pay up at point guard, that's an easy way to find a little bit of leverage.
And we know what's going to happen with Cade tonight. He's going to be low owned, and he'll probably go off.
Oh,
So
he's going off, dude. We liked Cade yesterday. Very
yeah,
unfortunate outcome, but we like Cade again today for sure.
yeah,
If either Beal or Tyus sits, it's a bump to Ryan Dunn. Yeah, I don't hate these plays. It's just again, it's really tough to lock up these long shot value plays from the first game. Ryan Dunn's going to come in low owned. If we get some weird news where maybe he's starting, I don't think he would start. He did start the second half in one of the previous games, but I think that's because Royce O'Neal left, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this next game, Pistons and Minnesota. So, Cade Cunningham at the top. We know he looks good. Jaden Ivey is out. Tobias went off yesterday. Asar Thompson, I don't know if he's limited or if the coach just really hates him because his minutes were awful. His production was awful. Burned everyone. He's 4,100. We only have him projected for 18. That's like 5 less minutes than we had him projected for yesterday. I think we thought he was going to start, though. What do you think about Cade? And then what do you want to do with the rest of this team? Mostly Asar and Tobias, I guess.
Yeah, so I think Cade, definitely like him once again here, 4% and 2%. Great contrarian play here. And then, yeah, you mentioned it with Azar, just not getting the minutes here. So Tobias is still fine, 5,100, but it's pretty much just Cade here for me for the most part.
Yeah, GPP shots and Cade, and then Tobias Harris getting there on a DraftKings. 20%, 10% seems kind of low. I'd be really surprised if he only came in 10% owned after the game he had yesterday. So, something to keep in mind. I mean, Malik Beasley, Isaiah Stewart pulling about 5% ownership. Any interest there?
I don't know, man. I hate playing backup centers on bigger slits.
I agree. Other side of this game, Minnesota. Hard to have interest in this team lately. I mentioned Mike Conley shows up in my exposures every day. I have 6% of him today. Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo are kind of interesting as kind of pivot value, I guess. And then Julius Randle, Anthony Edwards at the top. Rudy Gobert's been awful. What do you think about Minnesota? Actually pulling more ownership than I expected.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty decent spot, I think, here for Minnesota. Jaden McDaniels kind of the chalk here, 18%. I think he's fine. I think I'd rather just get to the Golden State Memphis value if you can. I think it's safer. But Nas Reid is kind of the guy I like here. 4,700. He was in the or a couple winning lineups the other day. I really like him here in this spot. So Nas Reid and McDaniels were kind of the spots.
So I don't think that we mentioned him on the stream the other day, or maybe I wasn't on that day or something. But Jaden McDaniels was a good play at that low ownership the other night. At this ownership tonight, 18%, we have so many value options. I don't see why we need to go to Jaden McDaniels at a 18% ownership. I'm still getting there. I have 6% in my current run. If I end up with that, I'm perfectly happy. Just we have infinite value today. He's a fine play. 18% just feels a little bit high.
Yep, I think you nailed it there.
Next game, let's start with Milwaukee. Pretty big favorites against Portland. Giannis at the top end. I think everyone's going to want to pay up for Jokic and Wemby. So Giannis still pulling 18 and 16% ownership near the top of the model. Dame, really strong OF index. Chris Middleton, strong OF index. What do you want to do with the Bucks?
Yeah, for me here, it's probably just Giannis. I do like him as a spend up if you're going a little bit more contrarian. Great matchup against Portland here. So love Giannis in tournaments. The only thing that kind of scares me is kind of his ceiling with the spread kind of inching towards a little bit towards blowout. But he's in a great spot here. So I like Giannis a ton.
It's hard for me to get over the field. It's just 18% is a lot. We have the value, like I said. We're paying down at the guard position, so we can't afford to pay up at power forward and center. Probably going to force Giannis in a little bit more, though. Then I'll mention Chris Middleton on FanDuel at 6,300, even with Damian Lillard back. We haven't projected for 29 minutes. This is probably close to his appropriate ownership, so he's a fine play over there too.
Agreed.
Other side of this game, Portland. I think it's pretty much just Jeremy Grant out, right?
Yeah, Grant's out, and then I think Banton should be back here. He was questionable last game, but he played.
So I have a ton of Denny Avdia, GPP shots on Scoot Henderson, and then I want to like DeAndre Ayton. I was with Smitty when he was really on him a couple slates ago, but he got benched again. So I guess that's a fear that we have to have with Ayton. But he's pulling no ownership, basically 6,400. I'm willing to take the risk.
Yeah, man, that was so weird. He was a great play that slate too against the Lakers, but I think he should be fine here. Tougher matchup against Milwaukee, but at 2%, I'm totally fine mixing him in here.
Got a couple pieces of news. If you're playing NFL, Chase Brown ruled out. If you subscribe to OccupyFantasy.com, you will already know that Khalil Herbert was probably the top play on the slate. Probably going to come in a little bit under-owned, so hopefully that works out. And then for the Suns, Tyus Jones and Oso Ighodaro are out. Bradley Beal is available, so we'll wait a few minutes and return to the Suns. Anything else you want to mention about Portland?
Yeah, I think Denny's fine here. I did prefer him a little bit cheaper at 5,500, so I think he's still fine to get to, but I'm not like jamming him in.
I'm still playing a lot of Denny. I am well over the field on DraftKings. He's projected for 17% ownership and 14% on FanDuel at 6,600. Perfectly happy to get over there too. I wanted to see the overall DK value. Denny Avdia ranks out pretty well in the mid range. I mean, we have a lot of cheap value, but we have to spend some salary somewhere. So I think Denny looks pretty good. And DeAndre Ayton wasn't too far below him either, showing up at 2% ownership. The Miami Heat play the Jazz. So Jimmy's done with the Heat. He's not going to play another game for them ever again. They suspended him for 7 games. I imagine he'll end up getting traded before then, or they'll just keep lengthening the suspension. But this does open up some usage for the rest of the team. I think Terry Rozier is probably the most interesting play from here, but obviously Tyler Herro and Bam are at the top end. I think Tyler Herro's a little priced up on DK. But what do you like about Miami?
Yeah, so you kind of already briefly touched on this, but I think Rozier is kind of a sneaky value here, 4,900. I do like him in tournaments, and then I think both Hero and Bam, once again here, great tournament plays. I wanted to hear your thoughts on Bam because he was kind of in my GPP pool here. Great matchup here against Utah, so I do like Bam a ton as well.
Yeah, I wanted to take GPP shots on Bam. I am getting there. Am I over the field? I'm with the field on Bam on DraftKings. Terry Rozier's the guy that I'm over here, though. Projected for 28 and a half minutes. Assuming he starts, I think he's pretty good at 4,900, 13% ownership.
I like it.
Looking at Jaime Jaquez versus Jovic versus Highsmith. I think I prefer Jovic. Model has it. Yeah, Model has Jovic as the preferred value, then Duncan Robinson, then Highsmith. Jaime Jaquez is way down here. We haven't projected for 24 minutes. If he ends up starting, then he's probably going to be a decent play. But as it is right now, I think that this 10% is probably not even deserved.
Yeah, it's tough for me to get to Jaime. I just haven't got this guy right all year.
It's just if he starts, we can be more confident in the minutes. If he doesn't, I think I'd rather just take shots on Terry because we really don't need the value today. We have infinite options. Safe Flowers ruled out for the rest of the game, fellas. Just such an unfortunate thing to happen. Other side of this game, Utah, John Collins is back. Let's see. So everyone here is probably slightly a little bit too expensive, except maybe Walker Kessler and Jordan Clarkson. I think those are the 2 GPP shots I want to take here. No one's pulling ownership. You really don't have to get to this team if you don't want to. You can just ignore them. But those are the 2 spots I like getting to.
Yeah, not really getting too much here, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Let's catch up on questions. What's up, Jay Grims? Good to see you. Ware for 4,200 from Miami. Yeah, he kind of closed the game yesterday. Spoelstra benched Bam and Harrow along with Butler. Real jerk move because I feel like the game was winnable with 5 or 6 minutes left. I'm not salty because Bam missed his rebounds prop. But yeah, I guess we didn't talk about Khalil. Where were you? We have projected for 15 minutes. Again, I just think we have too much good value to take these long shots like this. It's not necessary. Take long shots on the studs. Play the chalk value, I think.
Yeah, kind of the same thing with Stewart. I don't want to play backup center here.
Is the Spurs the next game? Nice, perfect. So Spurs next game, Wemby versus Jokic. That's the big debate today, right? Who do we pay up for?
Yeah,
See a question in here. Is Stephon Castle a good pivot off of Buddy Hield?
I think so. It's what's he like 200 more, 3,600. I think it's totally fine.
They're the same price. For the ownership, I absolutely think he's a good play because maybe by the time we get that Golden State starting lineup, I don't think Buddy Hield starts, so we shouldn't be building our lineups as if he does. But let's say the field gets scared, we get that starting lineup 1 minute after lock. They're not going to be able to swap back to the 4% owned Stephon Castle. He had a bad game yesterday, but the thing is, Sochan's back, so the minutes because Stephon Castle. I mean, he's projected for 22. I actually don't even know if he plays a 22 with Sochan back, so maybe this isn't really a good pivot.
Oh shoot, I didn't even see that yet. Sohan is back.
Yeah, and then I guess he's questionable. If Sochan's ruled out, Stephon Castle might go overlooked. Maybe people won't swap to him. It's Saturday, so in that case, I would really like that on DraftKings. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that all comes down to Sohan.
In the mid range on this team, Chris Paul and Devin Vassell showing up as strong value plays. All these guys are strong value plays, though, even Harrison Barnes. So, like getting exposure there. And then Victor Wembanyama. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, insane game last night. I don't know if anyone watched that in here, but once again, they're running the back here in San Antonio. I think Wemby looks amazing here. Once again, think you can play him with Jokic, play him without. I think he's a great play here overall.
Yep. Currently, I have more Jokic than Wemby. Yesterday, I was really upset early in the game because I thought that was going to be terrible. But Wemby got in foul trouble, I believe, lost a few minutes, so that kind of hurt him. Jokic put up an 80 burger. Wemby did not. Wemby still ended up being a good play yesterday. It's just Jokic outscored him. 25 and 23% ownership for 34.6 minutes. This feels like a minute lower than yesterday, but OF index super strong. Like getting to Wemby. It's very easy to pay up for him today.
Yeah, you don't expect any minutes like lower minutes than that on a back to back, do you?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
No, if the game's close, they're gonna play. Jamar Chase, no, Chase Brown. Chase Brown is out. Jamar Chase is not out. Khalil Herbert or Jalen Warren. I have like 80% Khalil Herbert and 12% Jalen Warren. I can tell you Khalil Herbert, it's like he's an occupy play today. So really like Khalil Herbert, assuming he has to start. He's going to be the workhorse. Rozier good even off the bench. This is our Nick Morrow. Close over Duncan Robinson. He definitely could, yeah. It's easier to fit Jokic and... Are you saying Jokic and Wemby on DraftKings? Yeah, because I'm scrolling through lineups and it's not difficult.
It's going to be easy to do that, yeah.
If Monte Morris starts for Phoenix... All right, let's... we'll come back to Denver in one moment. Let's refresh this and talk about Phoenix since this is a first game. It's kind of important. Does Booker still look good with BLN and Tyus out? He's a GPP play. I don't see him as anything more than a flyer. Monte Morris. Yeah. Go ahead, Jack.
Oh, no, I was just going to say for Monte, I think he should start here. 3,300, he's going to look pretty good as a value.
Model's probably still updating, but as it is right now, Monte Morris at 19 minutes is showing up as a really strong value. Monte Morris at 19 minutes. If he starts and we can project him for closer to 24, remember it's all proportional. So, you increase his minutes projection by, let's say 25%, whatever that is, just increase the value scores by 25%. Monte Morris is looking like one of the top values. I guess it's just a matter of what his ownership comes in at then, right?
Yeah, most likely. Because just with all these like good 3K value plays, if he comes in super high, probably would like him less than if he came in lower.
Yeah, I think the main thing that I do want to do is kind of spread out my value exposure. I said, we want to play the chalk value. It doesn't mean just go all in on one. Because even like Buddy Hield, he's going to show up as the top play on the model until this game starts. It's the last game, so we're really not going to know. I don't know. I don't think we have to jam him in. There's so many good plays. Spread it out. Like Jaden McDaniels is still one of the top plays on the model. I said that I thought the ownership was high, but I'm not going to be too far below this 18.
Yeah, I think he's still fine.
Let's jump back to Denver. Jokic at the top. I mean, just going by OF index, Jokic 18, Wemby 15.8. It's $1,000 difference on DraftKings, 900 on FanDuel. Model's telling us it's Jokic very easily, and we have the value to find that extra thousand, no problem. So
Yeah, I agree. Should be Jokic over 1B if you're playing one.
it's just I would have thought these ownerships were going to be a little bit farther apart. I expected Jokic to be higher or Wemby to be lower. I didn't think they were going to be this close.
Yeah, I think it's just because we saw both of them go off last night, so probably a little bit boosted there for that reason.
Quick update for the Bucks. Giannis is in, Chris Middleton's in, and AJ Green is in.
Perfect.
From the rest of Denver, getting decent ownership, getting decent exposure to Russell Westbrook. He's been good as a starter, putting up for fantasy anyway. He's been good. 6,600, 7,200. Seems like it's good for Jokic too, because he's been having some ceiling games since Russ has entered the starting lineup. Pretty modest ownership. Again, we have all the value to pay down at point guard, but this is one of the mid-range guys that I am getting to today.
Yeah, totally fine there with Russ. And then I wanted to hear your take on Jamal. He had a pretty bad game last game in terms of DFS. Do you like him here at this low ownership, or would you just rather just play more Jokic?
So I do see Jamal as a guy who has a ceiling, but I would be interested if he was like 2 or 3% owned. But honestly, at this ownership, I just pay down at point guard. Just play the values or play a different pay up, honestly. Like models identifying him as good. So me saying that definitely goes against model 11.6 OF index at 8K is very strong. DK value, FT value strong, but I'm I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I'd rather just pay down.
And then I kind of briefly want to touch here on Christian Brown. I still think he's fine at 8% on both sides, but it's just tough to play a guy that's like the fifth option on a team on a huge slate like this, even though he's going to get steals.
Jeremy Sochan is on track to play, so it's going to be really tough to get the castle now. With Christian Brown, he's probably a better small field play than he is large field because we don't need that ceiling. If we're playing him in a large field tournament today, we do need a ceiling from Christian Brown just because there's guys that are cheaper than him that are going to outscore him. So anything else here? Michael Porter Jr. I think is fine. 9.9 OF index at 6,300 on DraftKings is very strong.
Yep, I think he's firmly in play alongside Westbrook here.
Let's see, how are we on time? 5 minutes for 3 games. Oh, 2 games. We already covered Golden State. Nice. See a question about Giddey. Next game is Knicks Chicago. Were you looking at Giddey today?
Yeah. So Josh Giddey here, I don't love him. He's 11% on FanDuel, but with all these guys healthy, it's just tough for me to get to Giddey overall. So I'm just kind of going elsewhere.
I think the only player that I would have had interest in here was Vooch, but he's 9,100 on DraftKings. FanDuel 7,900 seems fine to take shots. We have the salary to pay up. I don't think I'm getting any exposure to this team on a DraftKings, though, and I think it's okay to have 0.
Yeah, them or Chicago and Utah, kind of the two fade teams for me.
Like I guess Lonzo at 4,100, but the model's not identifying him as the top value projected at 21 minutes. But I guess this is a possible value pivot if you need that. Other side of this game, New York. So New York, huh?
New York. That's the. I mean, they've been crapshoot recently with everything that's going on.
It's been like slate defining the last few slates. So McBride is still Q. We haven't projected in, but why? I feel like he's not going to play today. Jalen Brunson's probable. Karl-Anthony Towns and him are the only guys pulling double-digit ownership. I'm getting a little bit of them and then a couple shots on a Josh Hart, but are you getting too much of this team?
Yeah, so you pretty much nailed it here. I think Katz and Brunson are probably the two guys I'm looking at. Just a great spot for New York here against Chicago. Good total. So totally fine with Kat and Brunson tournaments.
Lamar just threw a touchdown to Rashad Bateman, dude. I'm gonna be sick. Like I'm actually gonna be sick.
It's tough. It's tough.
Tough, bro. Tough. Um, yeah, I don't think we have to talk much about here. I mean, it's a pace up spot for the Knicks, 239.5 total. Spread is much closer than it should be. GPP shots. Cat, 14.5 OF index. Not a bad pivot off of Wemby and Jokic. Save a couple $1,000.
Yeah, I feel like both of them have big ceilings here, so I'm totally fine with either one.
Nothing on Chicago. Let's talk about Atlanta Clippers real quick. It's the, night slate on DraftKings. It is on the main slate on FanDuel, though, for Atlanta. Did you have their injury report pulled up?
I did not, but I can pull it up real quick.
So Trae Young's Q, Jalen Johnson's Q. The rest of my page isn't loading. What do you think about these guys on Atlanta?
Yeah, so I don't know, man. It's not necessarily a great spot here for Atlanta, but I think you could take a stab at a Kongwu here in particular. 5,200. He had a pretty good showing last game, and then Jalen Johnson and Trey. I don't know, man. I don't love the spot here for them. Do you kind of have a different take here with Atlanta?
Nope. My FanDuel build right now has a few percent of Trey, a few percent of Jalen Johnson, but so those two are questionable. Bogdan's questionable. If someone's out, I think no matter who's out, it's a bump to DeAndre Hunter. That's like the GPP play I'd like to get to. His price is getting there though, 69 and 6,600. Really tough to pay for that unless maybe multiple guys are out. Yeah, it's not too much from this team. They're all like appropriately priced, if not overpriced.
Yeah, I agree.
Last game for the Clippers, Kawhi making his season debut, expected to make his season debut tonight. We've seen this before. I don't think anyone here is playable.
Yeah, welcome back, Kawhi. But in terms of DFS, not the best looking team.
Who do we play from here? James Harden projected for 13% ownership on FanDuel. Okay, sure. Norman Powell 7,200 at 16%. If he was like 3%, I could see it, but 16 seems pretty high. I know it's a pace up spot against Atlanta. It's only 229.5 total though.
I think for me, might be Zubac, 7,600. He's been pretty good. He had a rough game, I think, last game, but I think I'd be fine with him at 6%.
Kawhi Leonard 0%. Yeah, we can't play him yet. All right, let's build a quick dummy and get out of here. Who are your first players in today?
Let's go Jokic for sure, just because we have the value to get him.
All right, let's start with Jokic at center.
And then
I think we got to just put in Buddy Hield since he's top of model value.
Buddy Hield and probably what, Schroeder at point guard?
Yeah, and there are other plays around this price, so if you don't like Buddy Hield, just pivot in your own lineups. Plug in Schroeder here. What is he, 52?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's.
Memphis?
Well, I mean, Memphis. Yeah, who's your top Memphis guy?
I like both. Really like Clark, but Clark and Wells I like a lot.
Yeah, we're plugging in Brandon Clark. This is the GPP core, so don't use this in a cash game. Let's plug Jalen Wells in and see how that looks. I don't think we actually. Let's hold off on Jalen Wells for a second. Model still likes him though. We can plug him in, but we have some salary to work with. So right now, this is going to change. But Jokic, Schroeder, and Hield are my highest three exposed. Hield is definitely going to change, but after that, Wiggins, Kuminga, Draymond Green, Brandon Clark. So, do we want to get one of these other Golden State guys? Wiggins, Kuminga, or Green? Probably Green, top of a model, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say either Green or Kuminga here. I like.
Let's do Draymond. I mean, I'm just sorting by OF index. Some guys that are probably cheap. Jamal Murray at 7,900 does stand out. I'm not putting him in the dummy, but just pointing that out. Take shots on guys like Tyrese Halliburton, Cade Cunningham, Russell Westbrook, 6,600.
That's a good tournament play.
Yeah, let's throw Russ in there. It's model approved as well. Westbrook 66. Leave the 6,700 for two positions. I mean, we can keep it simple. Plug in like Avdia, gives us 7,300 for utility. Can't really do anything here. I mean, Siakam's a tournament play, but maybe move something around. Anything else you want to throw in here?
No, I think we nailed it. Just kind of monitor the Memphis situation as well.
T. Higgins is playing today. Simone Fontecchio got ruled out for Detroit. Just before we get out of here, we did mention Ron Holland on the stream yesterday. He had a good game. I don't know if, again, he's just like the other deep value guys. We probably don't have to get there, but it's 14 minutes out of the rotation. It probably just goes to like Malik Beasley. Maybe Asar gets a couple minutes. So actually, never mind on Ron Holland. And then Jayhawk, you are leading the Discord. If you guys want to hear Jayhawk talk for another half hour, there is a link in the description below.
Join at your own risk, by the way. Just kidding.
Okay, so Monte Morris we still have for 21 minutes, projecting as one of the top values on the slate. At 21 minutes, 3,300 first game, 8% owned on DK. The news came out not super late, but maybe he comes in less owned than he should. I think this is fine. I know I said earlier we don't want to lock up spots from the first game, but he looks much better now.
Yeah, I definitely like him if he stays alone like this.
Jazz G Money, what about JJJ? I'm okay paying up for him. Yeah, it's just a problem because you can pay a little bit more on DraftKings and get the Wemby and Jokic, but I still like it. And Pippen, I love Pippen tonight. So I think he's a pretty strong GPP play. Not a guy that you play in all your lineups, but guy you mix in and hope goes off.
Love it.
Power, Pippen's going to put up 26 in 40 minutes. Yeah. We need to talk you off Lonzo. I don't think I'm going to, actually, but yeah, Tweaking by Leangelo. Go listen to it. I talked about it in the last stream. Tobias and Brown. Model's giving you Brown, but I'll just say that. Model's giving you Brown. All right, guys. Appreciate you, and we will see you tomorrow. Good luck.